Hello everybody, and just here and welcome to Nanatsu no Maken ga Shihai Suru, a brand new series on the channel, a seasonal series, what's more, and a series that I think will be pure unadulterated indulgence for myself, as well as a fair bit of nostalgia. Let me explain. Pretty much the only two things I know about this show. I've seen the trailer during the live stream. You might want to check out the VOD. It should be linked somewhere in the corner, where I took a look at all the seasonal shows of summer 2023. I've read the synopsis, I've seen the trailer. I don't remember much, honestly. All I do remember is spell swords and Magical Academy. And that's enough. That's enough for me. I love spell swords. I love the trope of a spell sword. Whenever I can play a game as a spell sword, I play the game as a spell sword. I played all throughout Skyrim as a spell sword, or, well, spell axe for the most part. Wherever I can. Arcade was a great MMO because it allowed me to play a spell sword, and plenty other games. Not enough. I'd still rather every game that allows me to use swords and allows me to use magic allowed me to use both of them in combination. I really do like it. I played the entirety of Sacred 1 with a battle mage, with a sword and fireball, and that was pretty much my entire build. Everything went into swords and fireballs, and it was glorious. So that's my weakness. And this show seems to be a magical academy of spell swords, essentially. And nostalgia because Magical Academy. Before we started getting seasonal isekai trash anime, before isekai genre got popularized with SAO, Lock Horizon, earlier Dot Hack, we had seasonal Magical Academy trash. All of them follow pretty much the exact same formula. There is a Magical Academy where people who are predisposed to use that kind of magic go, and oh, the main character is somehow different? Say it ain't so. That's pretty much always the case. Usually it's like an all-female Magic Academy and our main character is the only male. I believe that was the plot of Infinite Stratos. Or our main character can use like super special kinds of magic. What was that show? Was it Rokudai Kishino Cavalry? Or maybe it was a different one. Where the plot was essentially only girls can use soul swords, but this is a boy who can use a soul sword? Whoa, how can it be? And that's usually the plot. We always have the main love interest girl who's always a tsundere, always has red hair, and for the most part has twin tails. And she's super powerful, she's the queen of the school, and oh no, main character arrives who's more powerful than her? It's so incredibly formulaic, to the point where I can't remember the titles of those two shows, but I think one of them might have been Rokudanai Kishi no Cavalry. Two shows had essentially the exact same story. Like beat for beat. The exact same story, very similar designs. It got so incredibly formulaic. And it's nostalgic, because back in the days I would watch, well, not every single Magical Academy show, but most of them, just to debrain myself, watch something for the pure fun factor. And if one of the Magical Academy shows ended up actually good, like Trinity 7, I believe. Yeah, Trinity 7 was good, actually. Trinity 7 was good, mostly because of the protagonist, how he wasn't a blank slate. If a show like that turned out to be good, hey, all the better, right? And that's very similar to modern seasonal isekai trash, because you watch them for pure indulgence because they just are brainless fun. And if sometimes you get some pearl in the rough, diamond in the rough, you get something nice, something fun to watch, that's all the better. So this is a huge callback to the early 2000s for me, and I wonder if it's going to be just a regular formulaic Magical Academy show, or is it actually going to be that diamond in the rough? I'm gonna be fine with either. Honestly, because spell swords, you can't go wrong with spell swords. That's just my core belief. Besides that, I legit know nothing about this show. I don't know what studio made it, although I probably checked it out during stream. I don't remember. I don't remember the plot. Someone on my Discord just posted the link to the opening. Haven't seen the opening, saying that it's good. Spell swords, Magical Academy, good opening. How about we jump right in, shall we? If you're new to the channel, though, you should know a little bit about the formula of my videos. First, we're going to see the show with subtitles and a timer, so you can sync up your own copy. After that, we will go through the episode again. There we go. Skip by skip. Skipping through it, maybe watching frame by frame if need be, stuff like that. Then we're going to take a look at the staff responsible for making this show, and lastly, I will have some closing words, some summary of the episode. So, with all of that out of the way, I think we can just start watching this episode, and to do that, you will of course need your subs, as I mentioned, to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show, and I'm gonna have to ask you for your support monetarily, for example on Patreon, linked down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, costs you nothing, helps a lot. And with that being said, we can start watching episode 1 of Nanatsu no Maken ga Shihai Suru in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, right, and survival rates of the students are low. That's, I guess, one thing I know about the plot of this show. For something named Unblooming, it blooms pretty nicely. Okay, what's that plant? I like the world immediately. It's very whimsical, very fable tale like. Harem member spotted. Best friend spotted. Okay, magic plants, magic animals. Getting some Harry Potter vibes. Resident tsundere. Oh, the ringlets. Ojo-sama has arrived. Bookish friend. I think I spotted a samurai girl, of course. Probably the main love interest. We're just going trope, 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 trope. Uh, it's a train with no brakes. Unmei. Has to be Unmei. Were there 7 of them? I think so. Really nice thundering sound to those animals. That ain't a fucking Fafnir. Fafnir is a wolf. No, sorry, Fenris is a wolf. Fafnir is a dragon. Sorry. Yes, you are correct. But they are captive. That's our Hermione. Do they have a language, though? Because if you can just enslave creatures that don't speak your language, I mean, we could enslave the French. And it's, you know, not the best justification. I mean, yeah, sounds like a good idea. Hmm. We have an assassin on the school grounds. Hello, Ojo-sama. Your background characters, you have nothing to worry about. I mean, actually, your background characters, you have the most to worry about. Ooh, okay. I did not expect to see a dog getting splattered in the first episode. They are kind creatures, though, right? Oh, she's an animal whisperer. Hmm. I mean, the troll doesn't seem to be a danger anymore. Why the sword? Just throw some reins on it and rein it back in. I like the effects of magic. This like opalescent like text. Speed me up, I'm gonna slit its throat. Double jump. Tibia? Haven't heard of that game in a good long while. It was super popular when I was in primary school. Oh, I thought he's a Dragonborn and can use Thuum. Nope. Charge. We don't do running in this school. Of course, hair changes color, another classic. And it has its own proper noun name. Well, not proper noun, but... yeah, fucking eyelashes. That's why flails are nice. The chain absorbs the impact. The more you know. Okay, she's an interesting character for sure. Samurai characters are usually very, stern and stiff. She doesn't seem to be. Hmm. What did you strike the troll with? Unless you mean the... It's not sharp. Because it certainly does have a blade. Happy-go-lucky samurai. I think that's the first I see this trope. Or actually this spin on it, because it's not a trope, it's not something common. And are we gonna be hit with... Oh. I thought we might be hit with some trope again, like, tiny little lolly headmistress who needs a step stool or something. And 80% of you will die. Just as a side note. That's not a school, that's a... Oh, I thought it's the other way around. I mean, simply don't be that 20%. Easy, right? I hope that danger is actually reflected in the show. Uh, that came out of nowhere, but sure. Sure. Good on you. Yes. Yes, she is. She is. Very much so. We have our friend clique already set up. Okay, she's just gonna float them all into seats. Oh, that's cool! The seats are set up on the roof, on the ceiling? Oh, that's dope. That's great. Grape juice. Is it a 4Kids dub? Yep. I count 6. Where's the 7th Spellblade? Yep, there's 6 of them. Michela, hello. Tan Ojo-sama, another thing you don't often see. You don't ever see, actually. Chela. Just don't start speaking Chedish. The symbol of nobility. Okay, so she's gonna be the delicate, gentle soul that can communicate with animals and creatures, essentially. That's the vibe I'm getting. Here's the muscle of our team. And a gardener, apparently. Okay. Ordinary. I've heard worse terms. Are you a non-magical as well? Okay, friendship established. Okay, apparently not. He's magical. That's cool. Not sheer power, but rather clever use. I hope it's actually something represented in the show well. McFarlane, isn't that the surname of the headmistress? Oh, no. It's her surname. Wait, your father has ringlets. I mean, I can appreciate the commitment. She just showed up here and and she's here. Nope. She has quite an appetite, because of course she does. At least use cutlery. Okay, some savoir-vivre course. And a prince. That's an interesting visual. You rarely see this kind of a time skip uh, screen in anime. What the fuck is wrong with this clock? Oh. Okay. That's cool. Tiny little spirits that just fuck with your clocks. That's... I really like this world so far. Somehow I get a feeling Pete might turn out to be a girl. It's another fairly common trope. And this show doesn't stray from them. Who is Gwyn? Oh, like his... Okay, gotcha. Is she going to enroll and will be the 7th? Because we know there's gonna be 7 people in our protagonist group. Taking a bath in the fountain, taking a bath in the fountain. Those are some nice scars. And thankfully the water is opaque. We have bathrooms, you know. That's a useful spell. Okay, so she's an exhibitionist. How old are you? Is this a high school setting or a college setting? Because if it's a college-ish setting, then I guess it works, but... Use a spell. Don't you have, like, drying spells or something? Just scream, Dyson! And dry her. She is strange, alright. Okay, that was a nice episode. Not an awful lot has happened. Oh, it's JC staff. Okay. It was pretty much purely an introductory episode. But the introduction is compelling. I'm compelled to watch more. Absolutely. Oh, thank you. I was afraid it's gonna play spoilers, but no, thankfully not. Oh, and by the way, the version I'm using comes from subs, please. But I don't think there are any fan subbing groups working on this, so I guess any version you get won't be any different from mine. I forgot to mention it at the beginning. I'm probably gonna add it in a comment or something. Okay, so that was a nice episode. How about we watch it again? Shall we? Yes, we shall. Let's watch it again and talk about it a little more. 20% students who enroll here cannot survive. Yep. Have been consumed by the spell. Initially, I thought the proportion is inverted, and I was thinking, who the fuck willingly goes to study there? But 20%, I guess it's reasonable-ish. This is the very intro, the very introduction is already the moment where I started really liking the world. An old tree with a face, with a name, a talking vine, flower, plenty of greenery around. Castle also has a lot of greenery in it, and a town around it. Usually Magic Academy tropes are somehow, those worlds are rid of greenery, is something I observed. It's usually just white sterile walls, white sterile insides of the academy, and everything is very grounded. You know, very not whimsical. Whatever the antonym of whimsical is, they are that. This world seems very whimsical, almost really evokes that feeling of Mahoutsukai no Yome a little bit, in how there are all those different spirits, like this little clock spirits, the talking vine, the tree with a face. Those are very fairy tale things, not strictly fantasy things, if you know what I mean, right? They don't necessarily have a full proper explanation, right? That tree is there because it's there because magic. There isn't some process of treeificating a person or something of that sort, right? And also immediate Harry Potter vibes. Wands, for sure. Their school not suits. What's the word for it? Uniforms. The fact that they need those uniforms. And the world, again, the whimsicality of it, the fairy tale-ness of it. This episode really is going at breakneck pace. It really is. I hope it doesn't mean pacing issues further on, but this episode really goes fast. Like, within the first few minutes, we already meet pretty much the entirety of our cast. They aren't being introduced gradually, right? Like, sure, we meet those two guys here, and maybe we meet Pete, or Peter, or whatever his name is, when it turns out he's our main character's Olivier's roommate. We meet the Ojo-sama during the entrance ceremony. Maybe there aren't enough places to sit, so she sits down by the table of our trio so far. You know, Stuff like that, introduced gradually. But no, they are all introduced at the exact same time, almost. You almost step on Madam's stem. Yeah, there is 6 of them. Where's the 7th? Is that gonna be part of the plot of the show? Trying to figure out who the 7th one is? Or maybe turns out that one of the villains is gonna be the 7th, or maybe the 7th one is a villain, or, you know, some other shenanigans like that? Oh. Strange foreign clothes. It's just Nihon. I'm really not a huge fan of flash forwards. Gonna say it right here. I really don't like flash forwards. Gate Jietai anime had a particularly egregious case of a flash forward. I fucking hated it. If you're gonna be watching Gate Jietai, I recommend it. It's a nice show. In the first episode, our main character, Iwatani Naofumi, Iwatani Naofumi is from Shield Hero. I'm getting them mixed up. What's his face? What's his name? The main character of Gate. Itami Yoji. He walks into a pillar, drops to the floor, pause the episode there, and skip it to when he's already up. You're gonna thank me later. Something like a premonition, fate, of course, Unmei. Plenty of interesting creatures. Unicorn. I like it that those creatures, most of them at least, look feral. Right? This unicorn doesn't look like an, you know, intelligent, whimsical fairy tale kind of a unicorn. I guess depending on what kind of fairy tales we're talking about, because if it was from Grimm Brothers, this motherfucker would have already slaughtered them all. But yeah, it's not a unicorn with, you know, large, it's not a scaled up My Little Pony, is what I'm trying to say, right? It actually looks feral, and it's huge. Griffin has a little bit more smart in its eyes. But yeah, for the most part, all those creatures look very, very feral. I like it. I like this approach. Fafnir, and she will be the gentle bleeding heart for animals. 100%. I can already tell there's gonna be a scene where they are trying to attack some animal, or some animal tries to attack them. She steps forward and talks the animal out of attacking, or turns out the animal has a thorn in the paw pad or something, and she takes out that thorn and gives them passage through the labyrinth of animals or whatever that way. I just don't know her name. So it's gonna be hard to note it. But any case, Nanatsu no Maki, not Maki, Maken ga Please show me the file name. Are you not going to show me the file name? Okay. Shihai Suru. Shihai Suru. Yeah, she... I guess I'm gonna leave it blank. No, actually. Where is it? I have the list of characters on hand. She is Katya, isn't she? Yeah. So, Katya, or Katie, or however we pronounce it. Katie talks a monster out of fighting, or helps it, and it turns docile. She's the bleeding gentle heart towards animals, 100%. They're making a troll walk in the parade like other magical beasts. They don't speak our language, and the wild ones attack people. I mean, as I said, the same can be said about the French. I mean, maybe they're not attacking other people. Unless you're maybe like in Paris during riots. Then maybe they do. I don't know. So, of course, we train them to serve our needs. Yeah, immediately getting the vibes of Hermione and the house. What were they called? Not house dwarves. Dobby and his ilk. Right, trying to free them. Also, Little Witch Academia and the Strike of Magical Creatures that Akko joined. Another association I have with that. The land for those fields used to be theirs too. Okay, so humanity is expanding and the natural habitats of animals are suffering for it. Initially, I thought it's going to be like from the Harry Potter parody by, I think, Onision, Wingardium Leviosa, and it lifts her skirt up or something like that. But no, it seems to be much more sinister. I thought for a moment the guy in the background might be CG, but no, he isn't. Yeah, it's something much more sinister. Someone is using magic to drive her to run forward. That someone was briefly shown, I believe. Where is that someone? I think it might have been earlier. Yeah. Mole. Assassin. Left eye. Mole. And also, if you're new to the channel, you don't know what I'm doing, I have my little green book of theories. It's green, see? I note down all, during the runtime of the show, all my theories, predictions and stuff like that, and then I check out which of them came to be true and which one did not. Yes. Shub Nigurat. I did not expect to see a dog just splattered underneath a giant's foot in the first episode, but it tells us a very important thing about this show. They aren't afraid to show blood. They aren't afraid to show blood. Which means that the danger presented to us, that only 80% of students survive, might actually be shown in this show. It might actually be represented. Because very often, in media in general, it's not just about anime or manga or light novels, you have that declaration of danger, right? Oh, it's an event that only 5% ever survive, and then it turns out everybody survives it. Literally nobody gets hurt. Or, things like that, right? Oh, that dragon is super extremely dangerous, and that dragon has like a very, very narrow stream of fire, and you could just sidestep it, honestly. And why is that dragon that dangerous? You told me it's gonna be dangerous, but our main characters don't even need to dodge. I mean, they are dodging because I guess it looks cool, but they could have just sidestepped it. And so this tells me they might actually follow up with the danger, and we might actually see some of the characters bleed. Hold. I thought for a moment that she might be some sort of an animal whisperer. And yeah, there actually doesn't seem to be a sharp point on it. Except at the very tip. And our main character just has a dagger I think, or is it like a wakizashi? I think it might be a wakizashi. Of course, coming up with a plan. Summoning a lot of air, a lot of wind, and shaping that wind, the wind's howl, essentially, to emit a voice. That's actually very clever, very ingenious, and that again gives me hope that they might actually make good on their promise that Olivier will use magic in imaginative, interesting ways. Because that's another thing, telling versus showing, or rather, not in the meaning of show versus tell, but rather telling about properties or skills of someone versus actually showing them used. Another thing, very many pieces of media are at fault, where they tell us that, oh, the main character isn't actually that strong, but he can use his magic real clever. And 5 episodes in, it turns out that really clever use of magic is, I'm not gonna summon 1 fireball, I'm gonna summon 3 fireballs. And that's the extent of it. Nobody ever in the history of magic thought about summoning 3 fireballs at once. You know what I'm saying? This again gives me hope. It might not be that, and we might actually have some smart, imaginative use of magic. Very, very classic trope. Hair changes color. And at the same time, this character is a huge trope. Not kind of an inversion. Her personality is the exact opposite of a standard anime girl samurai character personality, right? They sort of benchmark, I guess, for samurai girl in anime is Tsubasa in early episodes of Symphogear, to me at least. And she's the exact opposite. She goes full Hibiki and then beyond it. So it's very interesting, that trope inversion. Reign of the 7 Spellblades. No, of course she didn't have a plan, she just jumped into action. Color of her hair, named for the crystal-like hair through which magic particles easily flow. So I guess it's like her hair turning into a magic fiber kind of sort of deal. Great potential as a mage, probably unrealized potential, because all this time she's only been fighting with a sword, not really using magic. So if you can teach her to use magic, besides her really good sword skills, she's going to be an unmatched power. I was almost hoping the headmistress is gonna be like a tiny little lolly girl that needs a step stool and barely can look above the podium, because that would check off. I don't know which one term is correct, but whatever. If you didn't figure it out yet, I'm not a native English speaker, so you'll have to excuse me at times. That can barely look up above the podium. Tiny little lolly girl. Yeah, okay, whatever. It's a usual trope, is what I'm trying to say. But it isn't here. The headmistress is, again, the very exact opposite of a tiny little lolly girl. She seems tall, she has massive honkers, and her name is Esmeralda. Troll has been captured, students have been treated. I really like her eye design, those little tiny slivers of eyelashes underneath her eye, and very sharp look on her face. House of Learning, freedom and results, your life and your death are in your hands. 20% succumb to magic and are consumed by the spell. That is what it means to learn magic, by paving a road with the corpses of the dead. I mean, they do say that the path of progress is littered with corpses, and there is something to that. Absolutely there is. I mean, even at the very basic Unga Bunga caveman level, the knowledge of which berries are safe to eat and which one aren't was paved by cavemen who would eat a berry and then just shit themselves to death. And further cavemen would no longer eat those berries, right? Science is, and progress is really paved with corpses. But there isn't really any better way. You must become tigers. And she just fucking out of nowhere. If you do this, your head's gonna stop hurting. Seem like you're in pain for some reason. That's just her resting bitch face. Also, her face right now with the cheery smile and top row of teeth and those like slanted downwards eyes really reminds me of like Nadeshiko from Judo Camp, or most characters from Judo Camp. A lot of that kind of a reverse Gap Moe to her, if that makes any sense. Now please be seated. I love this. I love this little tidbit. She just magicked them to sit at the tables that were prepared on the ceiling of the Grand Hall. More of that, please. It's unique. It's imaginative. I have never seen it done. Mad props for that. And also, very efficient use of space. Prefects and older grades, of course. White grape juice. Sure. White grape juice, absolutely. Okay, introductions. Michaela McFarlane. Michaela, how does she pronounce it? Michela. Okay. Michela Ojo-sama, classic standard Ojo-sama, but with a spin. She's not haughty. She doesn't have the haughtiness of an Ojo-sama, and also tan skin. I don't think I've ever seen a tan blonde with ringlets in anime. I've never. I don't think I've actually ever seen a tan girl with ringlets, period, no matter the hair color. I might be mistaken though. If you have any other examples, do let me know, of course. But yeah, as far as I remember, Southern Yelgland, and of course she's part of the aristocracy. I knew you were a McFarlane girl. And no, it's not a curse. Everybody simply wears those ringlets because they do. And she also has a little bit of a sense of humor. I like it. She's like the not annoying Ojo-sama trope. Not trope, spin on the Ojo-sama trope to make her actually likable. Kati, alto. Pronunciation, please. Kati. She likes animals. And besides that, not much. Might have been someone playing a prank. Probably not. There's probably something much more sinister afoot. Guy Greenwood. He's just a little guy. He's just a guy. Although pronunciation, maybe it's pronounced like Gie. I've heard very different pronunciations of that name. No, it's just Guy. He likes plants and he seems to be the brawn of our cast. It's surprising he doesn't have like a Zweihander. He seems like the Zweihander kind of a type of a person. Pete Reston. His parents are muggles, and he came here through his own merit, which is admirable, and something to connect, to bond over with our main character. I cannot shake off the feeling that Pete is actually a girl. I cannot shake off that feeling. Pete is a girl. I might very well be mistaken. I might very well be. But I cannot shake off the feeling. Very feminine facial structure. I'm pretty sure he's voiced by a female seiyuu. We're gonna take a look at that, of course. The blush, the demeanor, and pretty sure when he was shown laying in the bed, he had some nice hips on him. Maybe he's just a femboy, or maybe he's actually a girl. I don't know, we'll see. Olivier Horn. Brother and sister, they are students here as well. He's not particularly strong at magic, but he can use it creatively. And his magic family is magical since time immemorial. Samurai. Her name? Torikueisen Yamatsukuni. I hope that's not your name. Nanao. Nanao Hibiya. From Yamatsu. War. Interesting. Interesting. Could it be that the world is actually large? I know it's a seemingly stupid question, but very often in anime and manga and light novels and everywhere else, the world we interact with and the world we are shown is fairly small, usually limited to a single country, a single continent at most. But the world in here, or rather the surroundings, the environment, seems mostly European-ish. Meanwhile, she comes from a Japanese culture because samurai, some Japanese or vaguely Asian clothes around her. So I wonder if this world is actually bigger than usual. And there doesn't seem, at least, to be any sort of a war in here, so she must come from a country that's at war. McFarlane saved her. I can already see that the McFarlane dad is gonna be boisterous as fuck. This, like, you know, front flip or back flip on a broom with this sort of a pose. Oh, he's gonna be boisterous as fuck, and I'm gonna love it. Part-time lecturer. We're gonna see him soon, then. Asia. You couldn't have found a different name for Asia? I guess we have a direct confirmation. Yeah, she's from Asia. Asia. Okay. Not from a magical family. Interesting that she speaks the language. Is it a world that has like a universal language? Did she learn the language of this country? Do they have some translation spell applied to them? No test of knowledge. She was just admitted. And of course Pete is envious of that. Roast beef. I could go for some roast beef right about now. I have some pizza in the freezer. I guess that would have to suffice. Some savoir-vivre lessons. Spoon and knife on the right, properly. Forks, multiple for some reason, on the left. Slight not discrepancy, but it's not fully proper, I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Spoon is on the, like, you use cutlery from the outside to the inside. If you ever find yourself in a situation where there's like 17 different utensils on the table and you don't know what to use when, just go from the outside to the inside. They bring you some, I don't know, salad, you take the outermost utensils and you use them. Then they bring you soup, you discard those utensils, you take the outermost, and you work your way inwards. Then you take them from the top, because those are usually like dessert spoons and dessert forks. The more you know. So spoon is on the outside, indicating that you should eat your soup. First, I see a plate of soup, but it's not in front of her. She should eat her soup with the spoon, then spoon goes in the bowl, in the plate, and gets taken off. Underneath the bowl is a fresh plate. You get brought a new dish in, and then you take the knife in the right hand and a fork in the left hand. The inner fork. The outer fork should be 3-pronged, not 4-pronged, and should be used to eat the aperitifs, I think they're called, or, you know, like salad or any sort of tiny little things they bring you. So first use this fork to eat your salad, discard it, you take the spoon to eat your soup, discard it, then you take the knife and the fork to eat your meat. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, I think a knife should be facing outwards, blade out, not blade in. But I might be mistaken on that. I was really interested in savoir-vivre back in the days, but I don't remember everything, so again, correct me if I'm wrong. No, I'm not gonna say those glasses are not fit for white wine, because they probably are. Yeah, they are. Long leg, which means you can grab it by the leg to not warm the wine. Red wine glasses are very bowl-like. They're very stout because you grab them like that to heat the wine with the warmth of your palm to wake up all the aromas. So this is a white wine glass. Could also be used as a champagne flute. And Olivier serves as a waiter for some reason. Pete doesn't like veggies. You're missing out, my dude. This is cool. You often see this sort of a thing in Western animation, in Western cartoons, right? Moon and sun going around in circles, signifying the passage of days or the passage of time. I never see that used in anime, so it's cool, it's interesting. Clock is doing weird things because of spirits. Clock knocks. Interesting. I really like it, and it again really reminds me of Mahoutsukai no Yome. She's having to deal with clock knocks, fucking around with her clocks, would really be on brand for the show. And the manga that it's based on. Bit after 5. Pete. Tell me Pete doesn't have a breathable girl's hips. I'm sorry for the breathable, but I couldn't find any other adjective for the description of it. Tell me Sleeping Pete doesn't look like a girl. Doesn't sleep like a girl. Maybe I'm just looking for tropes for no reason where there are none. Maybe it's just some, you know, something flipped in my head, thinking that, oh, Magical Academy, that means it must be full of tropes, and I'm forcefully trying to look for them. Or maybe there is something to it. I know, I have it noted down in any case. So we'll see about that eventually. You'd better not make noise while I'm trying to read. Also, another thing that makes me think it might be the case is because the curtains on the bed are like half closed. And that there are curtains on the bed, which, again, I'm projecting way forward. And none of that might come to be true. But, you know, Pete is on the bed, maybe dressing or something. Olivier opens it up, and Pete is like, "Kya! Don't look at me! I'm undressed, and the secret is out." You know? Something of that sort. But again, it's just... I'm just completely spitballing here. Covert operative sent by the brother. I'm assuming that means Olivier is someone really important. I like how the path is lit up with glowing crystals. Teresa Karst. We don't see her face. I wonder if she has a mole under her eye. And she's taking a bath in the fountain, because of course she does. Very useful spell. She's precisely the kind of a trope of a character. She's precisely the kind to be taking a bath in the fountain. Scars from a war, indicating some, dark past to her, and yet her demeanor is incredibly cheery for someone who was this scarred in a war, and for someone who is how young? Their ages weren't stated anywhere, but I'm assuming she's no older than 19. Assuming this is a college setting. And that's being generous, because it might as well be a high school setting, which means they are all way younger, which would mean that she was fighting wars since she was like fucking 10. I wonder which is it. I wonder. I'm curious about her story. And apparently some other girl was also being an exhibitionist and showing herself to Olivier in a lake or something. I guess we don't know anything about Olivier either. I guess we don't know anything about any of the characters, actually. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Strange innocent girl with scent of blood. Ceremony. JC staff. Okay. Okay. So that was the episode. And now... There we go. Now we can take a look at the show itself, at people responsible for it. Studio, as I already noted, the JC staff. Recommendations: Mahoutsukai Koko, Rokudenashi Majutsu Koshito. Akashic Records, Trinity 7, Mahoutsukai Koko, Mashal, apparently. JC staff doesn't really need introduction, I don't think. They made which shows? Shokei Shoujo Virgin Road, Machikado Masaku, Shinigami Bochan. Plenty of very recognizable shows. Shokugeki no Soma, Dungeon ni Denai, Toaru Kagaku no Railgun, Toaru Majutsu no Index, One Punch Man Season 2, Dungeon ni Denai, Machikado Masaku, already mentioned it, Majimoji Rurumo, title I haven't heard in a long while, but it's a cool series, recommended. Date Alive, Saiki Kuso, Shokugeki no Kusuo, Shokugeki no Soma, Planet With, Last Period, UQ Holder, more UQ Holder, Amanchu, Weak Sauce, more Shokugeki no Soma, Prison School, of course, Dungeon Nidai, Heavy Object, more Weak Sauce, Witchcraft Works, another show that has plenty of trope reversal. Highly recommend it. It's great. Lil Busters, Toaru Kagaku, Little Busters, Tantei Opera, Milky Holmes, and plenty more shows. Sky Girls, Strike Witches, I think, as well. Azumanga Daioh. Okay, I think that's enough. Although, how far does their history go? 1980 motherfucking 7. That's a lot of time they've been in the business. Okay, so that's the studio, JC stuff. Apparently there is a light novel and manga. So let's take a look at the staff. Original story, Bokuto Uno. Bokuto Uno, who also made original story for Nejimaki Seirei Senki. Oh, Alderamin. I think I've seen Alderamin. Yeah, I have. It was cool. I liked it. Yep. I remember it now. It was a cool series. Kind of odd at times, but ultimately cool. Original character design, Ruria Miyuki. Also responsible for plenty of different mangas. Next, director Masato Matsune, who also directed The Legend of Heroes, Ai Soredemo Ayumu, Jahi-sama, Holy Night Light, script assistants. Interesting. I've never thought I'm gonna see Holy Light Night listed anywhere here. Kengan Ashura, openings. Most of his works seem to have been on openings. Kiseiju, Machine Doll, Defrag. Only recently, it seems, he started his roles as a full-on director with Crescent Rise, then Wixos, Pokemon single episode director, and finally a director on Nanatsu no Maken ga Shihai. Next, character design, Takehiro Suwa. Also worked on similar bunch of series. Sentoin Hakenshima's Fate Grand Order key animation, mostly key animation roles. Blend S, and even that on single episodes. Is character design. Yeah, Sentoin Hakenshima's was the first role as a character design, then sub-character design, and character design again on this show. Next, art director Maki Takano, who also directed nothing actually. Oh no, Akino Kanade, and besides that, background art mostly on some Shakugan no Shana, Sakura Sonopet na Kanojo, Toara Kagaku no Railgun, Black Clover. Not many roles to his name. Music, Kujira Yumemi, and sound director. I do want to check him out, Yoshikazu Iwanami, because I really like the thunderous sounds of the magical beasts. Sound director on Psycho-Pass. What else? Konosuba, Sao, Urusei Yatsura, Princess Principal Crown Handler 3, Machikado Mazoku, Jojo, Sidonia no Kishi, and plenty of other shows. Psycho-Pass, Human Lost, Fate, Machikado Mazoku, One Punch Man. Plenty of roles as a sound director, for sure. And Kujira Yumemi, as I said, responsible for music on this show. And also music on no shows that I would recognize. Tensei Kizaku, great manga. I think I can recommend the anime as well. Is it coming out this season? Or is it like... No, 2024. Okay, I know what I'm going to be watching in 2024 then. I really like the manga of this show, of this series. Who else would I like to check out? I think that's going to be it for the staff. So, now let's check out the Seiyu. Olivier, Atsushi Tamaru, and Nanao Yuka Nukui. Atsushi Tamaru also voiced someone in Noshi no Ko, someone in Arts no Kyoju, Beck, Shadow House, Watcha Primagi, Mikihiko in Mahoutsukai no Mahoutsukai Koku Mahoka Koko no Rettosei. Mahka Koko no Rettosei. Shirobako, also a role. Gundam, apparently. Darling in the Franxx. Mahka Koko. And I don't think I recognize any other roles. Nope, I certainly don't. And Yukano Kui, the voice of our second protagonist almost. Nanao Hibiya also had a role of Maisie May in Witch from Mercury. Also, who else? I don't think I recognize anybody else so far. Nia in Arifureta. Okay, that's another name I do recognize. And that's it. Not many roles, oddly enough. Next we have our other friends. Guy Greenwood, Shinsuke Sugawara, Peter Reston, Riho Sugiyama. What did I say about it being a female seiyu? Michela, Mrs. Yamada, and Kati, Hitomi Owada. Let's check them out. Shinsuke Sugawara, the voice of Guy, also the voice of nobody I would recognize, and not many roles in the first place. Riho Sugiyama, the voice of Pete, and also the voice of someone from the Junji Ito anime. Elin from Shinma Renkin Jutsushi. 86 role of someone. Haven't seen 86, I have to make up for it eventually. And no other roles I would recognize. Again, fairly unknown name, all things considered. Mrs. Yamada, the voice of Michela, also voicing... what's that? Oh, Ernest Flaming in Eiyu Kyoshitsu in today's season. Kumakuma Bear, Kanojo mo Kanojo, and Kumo desu ga nani ka. And Magia Record, Shoujo Madoka Magica Gaiden 2nd, she voiced Kurohana A. So another not particularly recognizable role. Hitomi Owada, the voice of Kati. Also the voice of Koyori in Wataten. Also the voice of Abigail in Fate. Of Midori in Shirobako. Hokitl, however you pronounce it, in Toaru Kagaku no Railgun. Megane Kaiman in Kemofure. 2nd season at least. And that's about it. That's about it indeed. Who else do we have here? Ophelia, whoever Ophelia is, voiced by Ai Kayano. Vera, whoever Vera is, voiced by Ai Kakumura. And Esmeralda, voiced by Atsuko Tanaka. Let's maybe start with her. The headmistress, also voiced... nobody I would recognize, I'm afraid. Someone in Conan. Oh, the voice of Hood. The voice of Popko. But who hasn't voiced Popko? Not many. Everybody voiced Popko at some point. They might just not know that yet. Of course, Hood I recognize. Gegege no Kitaro. God Eater. Idol Master. Glasslip. Gundam Reconquista, Neko Arc, apparently, someone in Naruto, And I'm afraid I don't recognize any other roles here. Oh, Motoko Kusanagi. Well, that's a role I do recognize. Lasan in Ergo Proxy. Not many shows she starred in, but they seem to reach very, very far. All the way to 1993. She started her career a year before I was born. Ai Kakuma, the voice of... who, actually? The voice of Ai Kakuma, the voice of Vera Milligan, whoever she is. She hasn't appeared in the show yet. But the seiyuu also voiced someone in Precure. Also, Ilya in Tensei Ojo. Rafina in AUO. Franca in Arknights. Vampire in the Garden. Tensei Shitara. Strike Witch. Hikari from Strike Witches. Unicorn in Azure Lane. Aiko from Arifureta and Takao from Azure Lane. I would never put those two characters next to each other as far as voice is concerned. So quite the range on her. And Hikari in Brave Witches. Yep. Lala from Monmusu. Noel in Aikatsu. Isuzu Sento, 50 Cent from Amaburi. And that's it, as far as the names and faces I recognize. Ai Kayano, the voice of Ophelia, whoever Ophelia is. Another character that hasn't shown up yet. Also voiced Saori in Girls und Panzer. Kana in Kimetsu no Yaiba. Darkness in Isekai Quartet, and I'm assuming also in the source material, of course. Kirika! Oh, that's voice of Kirika from Symphogear. Okay, I'm looking forward to that. And Atago and Mamako. That's a range. That's a range, all right. Being able to depict this many so varied characters. Shiro in No Game No Life, and her doppelganger in NGNL 0. Danganronpa roles, more darkness. And I think that's about as far as characters I can recognize at a glance go. Shiro again. Kirika again. Listed for every season of Symphogear, I'm assuming. And XVs. Not XVs, Zessoshinais. Okay, that'll do it. Who else do we have? More characters that haven't appeared yet. Alvin Godfrey, Satoshi Hino, Richard Andrews, Shoya Chiba, Cyrus Rivermoor, Atsushi Imaruoka, and Carlos Withrow Kazutomi Yamamoto. Satoshi Hino, Mikhail Renfred in Mahoutsukai no Yome. Nice to see a character I immediately recognize. Hung in Lee's Detective Agency Momonga. Okay, the voice of Momonga. Wait, Momonga and Mikhail have the same voice? Actually, yeah. and fell into the Moskill. Another series where I read the manga, and the manga was great, so I'm assuming the anime is also good. So go give it a shot if you feel like it. Very nice isekai that strays away from plenty of tropes. Kimetsu no Yaiba, JoJo's, Isaac in Log Horizon, and nobody else, I don't think, who I would recognize. Willibald in Vinland Saga. More Mikhail, more Momonga. 2016 Momonga. 2015 Kiryo from Working 3. More Momonga. And Isaac in Log Horizon. And I don't think I will recognize many more roles. Sai from Naruto. Haven't seen Naruto. Just a few episodes. My friend forced me to. Back when Naruto was all the rage. Ikitozen. Another series that I haven't heard mentioned in a while. I do remember liking it though. Gintama. And that's it. Shoya Chiba, the voice of Richard Andrews, and also the voice of William G. Merryblood in Sahet and Paladin. In the sequel, yeah? Okay. The voice of our main boy. Also the voice of someone in Paripikome. Horimiya. Anybody else I would know? B-Saibo in Hataraku Saibo. Haikyuu, and that's it. Atsushi Imaruoka, the voice of Cyrus, also voiced someone in Fate. Yamamori in Tokyo 24-ku. Midray in Tensei Shitara Slime. Demon in Ishizoku Reviewers. Hayden in No Guns Life. Succulent from Overlord. There we go. Finally, someone I know. Guillotine Gorilla from Samurai Flamenco. And other roles I don't recognize. One Piece role, apparently. Kazatomi Yamamoto, the voice of Carlos, and also the voice of nobody I would recognize, I'm afraid. Mostly feminine bishonens or straight up female roles, it seems. Mitsudomoe. I guess that would be a role or at least the anime that I recognize. There we go. That makes it all of the seiyuu, all of the staff, all of the studios. Well, one singular studio, of course. School Magic Male protagonist, primarily teen cast, shonen, samurai, animals, swordplay, and a spoiler, I'm not gonna click. I don't think I am. I don't think I need to. Okay, so that was what was this show named again? Nanatsu no Maken ga Shihai Suru. I did enjoy myself. For what it's worth. This episode didn't have particularly much content. It was pretty much solely an introduction to the world, an introduction to the story. Nothing of any major significance was shown. They just have sown some seeds that we will have to wait for them to sprout. But for what's it worth, it was good. I didn't have any major issues with it, besides maybe pacing. But I like the characters. I like how they break out of their seemingly assigned or associated tropes. I like how, in general, this show seems to be breaking out of many tropes. That's certainly admirable. And there is signs of this show being eventually something a little bit more than just a generic magical academy. So I'm gonna be waiting. I'm gonna be waiting to see what this show eventually becomes. And if it turns out it's just going to be a generic magical academy kind of a show, I'm not gonna mind it, because it's gonna be a very nice burst of nostalgia. If it turns out it's actually gonna be good, I mean, I'm gonna benefit even more, because nostalgia and an actually good show to watch. So whatever happens, it's a win-win scenario. I don't think I have anything more to say on the topic. I think that's it from me, but maybe you guys have something to add here. If so, do so in the comments down below. What did you think of this episode, of my reaction, my theories, stuff like that? No spoilers, please, I beg of you. I know the manga is out, I know the light novel is out, don't spoil it to me. If you do want to talk spoilers, my Discord is here, also linked in the description. There's going to be a channel for this series, and you will be able to discuss spoilers there to your heart's content, but not in the comments. And even if you say something on Discord, also leave a comment, because YouTube algorithm really likes that. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel somewhere down below to be notified of future releases of not only Nanatsu no Maken ga Shihai Suru, but also Helck, another amazing series, Ryza no Atelier, Mahoutsukai no Yome, and other series that will be coming at you in the future. I also stream sometimes. The boxes you see behind me are Gunpla, for example. I'm gonna be streaming myself assembling them, so stay tuned, click the bell. I also stream some gacha games sometimes, so if you're interested in that, do click the bell to be notified when I go live, or just subscribe, or just join my Discord, because that also notifies you of my lives. Support the channel if you want, monetarily, for example, on Patreon, linked down below, where for $10 a month you get early access to known seasonal shows like Symphogear, Madoka Magic, and others, and for just $1 you get your role on the Discord and a place in the credits. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, no problem, share my content, spread the word, it costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers. And here's the list of my wonderful Patreons: QB, Without a Net, Fruitsay, Rainer, Akko, Manser, Yuki, Ally, Fassel, Dr. Watt, Marsh, and Hans Peter, and you can join the ranks without the need to have a survival rate of 80%.